But to the rest of us, it is a big deal. This is our country. We were born here. We plan to die here. We have nowhere else to go, and we don't want to live in a slum.
Like, it's like there's no more coding. It's just like dog horns now, straight up. Used to be he would use a whole bunch of coded language, you know, and try to mask the whole white supremacy thing. Now let's talk about human trafficking. That's right. This is what we're gonna talk about. Tucker's coverage of Martha's Vineyard is so fucked up. Really? Do you have a link to it? I'll definitely watch that fucking little white supremacist.
Tonight, Governor DeSantis defending his decision to send 2 planes of undocumented immigrants to Martha's Vineyard.
And it comes as we learned the flight originated reportedly from Texas. Local 10's Cody Weddle is in Doral tonight with the backlash.
Well, Governor Ron DeSantis says this is all about communities across this country coming together to share the burden of immigration. But there are questions tonight about how exactly his administration could.
This is so fucking gross. Can I just get ahead of this and say this? Like, the fact now that human beings are used as political pieces in this weird ass racist chess game in order to be like score some points. Own the libs. Owning the libs used to be about fucking you know, liberal tears. Fucking let's own them. I fucking eviscerated you on a college campus. I didn't change my mind, bro. It looks like the libs got owned. Now it's human trafficking. That's how we've accelerated. Now fucking the right-wingers, fucking Republicans in the United States are straight up shipping human beings off to other parts of the U.S. to be like, you deal with them. You deal with these filthy pores. You don't like it, do you, liberals? We're going to send them all to Martha's Vineyard. I saw people fucking cheering this on the right who were just like, Barack Obama's got a house there. Hillary Clinton's got a house there. Let's see how these fucking wealthy liberal elites deal with this. And surprise, surprise, not everyone is as ugly in their heart as you are. They actually did the humane thing, and they put them up in housing, and they gave them food, and they've been attending to them. Yeah, it turns out not everyone is a horrifying monster. Like, okay, great move. And this is obviously being done right before the midterms to try and gear up fucking support and call out hypocrisy and be like, well, do you ever have to deal with them, you know?
Convinced dozens of Venezuelan migrants to board a plane to a small Massachusetts island.
There's absolutely no infrastructure in Martha's Vineyard to support any migrants.
Growing outrage tonight from the Venezuelan American community over this. Governor Ron DeSantis confirming the state of Florida chartered 2 flights to Martha's Vineyard, a Massachusetts island known to be popular among the wealthy elite, dropping off 50 Venezuelan migrants.
And now he's carting them around like cattle from state to state.
Questions also growing about how Florida.
Okay, let's see this. Tucker Carlson.
Yesterday morning, that island was 89% white. Unfortunately, and this really is the point, Martha's Vineyard is one of a dwindling number of beautiful places left in our country. Martha's Vineyard is what most of America once was, not all that long ago. Small.
Like, he just fucking says it out loud now. How are people not picking up on this? This is fucking Stormfront shit.
Socially cohesive, orderly, safe, with traditional
white,
human-centered architecture and big stretches.
Human-centered architecture. God damn, man. So is Glenn Greenwald still going to run cover for this? Is Glenn Greenwald still going to try and pretend as if he's not just a fucking white supremacist giving white supremacist talking points en masse on the fucking biggest news program in America?
Of nature, unspoiled by industrial wind farms and dollar stores? The people who live in Martha's Vineyard now didn't build any of that. The people who did build it are long gone, along with the attitudes and values that made it possible. The people who live there now just came for the nostalgia, and all that's left, really, are the buildings and the beaches, but still, you'd hate to see them wrecked. On the other hand, at this point, we may have no choice. No sane country would allow millions of foreign nationals to walk across its borders illegally and then immediately give them government benefits in exchange for mocking our rule of law. No one would ever do that. It is suicide.
They're asylum seekers. Well, what are you talking about? And In addition to all this, I know there's this fucking argument that's always been gone, like illegal immigration, legal immigration. I don't think Tucker's a fan of either of them, to be honest. I think he would just like to keep the country as white and Aryan as possible. You know, gotta make sure those birth rates are staying very, very high amongst the white population. But either way, he lies constantly. If you watch like a really good video on it, Carlos Maza has one on YouTube back when he used to work for Fox. What made Tucker Carlson different than his Fox predecessors is they would always focus on illegal immigration, because illegal immigration is an easy talking point for the right. You know, like I'm not against the idea of people migrating to America. I just don't want illegals coming in. You know, the illegal aliens, they're bringing disease. Some of them, I assume, are good people. The rest of them are rapists, kind of, you know, Donald Trump mentality. But he switched to just immigration. And that's a really telling thing. And why? Because he would constantly dog whistle with all these things. Like, well, what happens to a Western culture when people from other cultures come over here? We become dirtier as a result. We become more dangerous. There's more violent crime. Do they have Western values? Like, he would replace white with Western values, was basically the sleight of hand. The mask would slip every now and then, and there are clips of the mask clearly slipping where he's talking about, like, you know, I don't want my kids growing up and they look around and the people look nothing like the people that they grew up with. Like, little things like that where like, ooh, shit, that one probably was a little bit of a slip of the tongue there. But for the most part, that's what makes Tucker Carlson. And that's why white supremacists, fucking neo-Nazis, KKK members, Nick Fuentes have all said they adore him, and he repeats their talking points. In some cases, Nick Fuentes has claimed that he repeats their talking points beat for beat, as in like the things that I will say on my show, and he might not use the terms like, you know, Aryan or Jews or things like that, but the exact same message is being delivered.
Over time, it will destroy the United States. Everyone can see that, no matter what they say.
We'll destroy
But the people
US.
who vacation on Martha's Vineyard don't care.
Why not? And this is just, I'm spitballing here, but the billions and billions of dollars that you spend on border security, building walls, and enforcement and human trafficking in all these cases of humans, again, why don't you spend that on systems and centers that can help people adopt and become functional parts of American society? Educational centers for vocational training, temporary housing, language courses if they don't speak fluent English yet, because that's a complaint you seem to always have. They don't even speak the language. It's a different culture. And do that, because it will have a net benefit to society. Because if you look at all the stats, the lies that Tucker Carlson likes to tell everyone and get everyone really afraid about how they come over here and they're criminals, you know, they come into the United States and then they're violent and they're rapists and all this kind of stuff. Well, it seems that doesn't bear out in the data. It shows that, like, naturally born citizens commit more crime than immigrants do, and immigrants have a net benefit to your society, and they are oftentimes hard workers, taxpayers, all that kind of stuff. We should also add one other thing, by the way, when we're talking about all of this, and this is Kasim Rashid, who had a really good tweet about this. There are more than 600,000 undocumented Canadians and Europeans in America. Funny how we've never seen MAGA GOP separate those families, demand a wall on the northern border, or traffic those families from the northern border states to the blue states. I can't quite figure out why. Yeah, but I mean, if you do want to build a border wall between Canada and America, I don't know if I would oppose it, just because it might be nice when things start popping off. You know, I feel Canada would fall very quickly if America suddenly went full fash. You know, if you had some kind of a dictator or authoritarian far right figure leading the country, and they were like, you know what, I kind of feel like we need what's that word? Lebensraum. We need more land. Where's somewhere close by that has a lot of resources and not a very strong military? Is there anywhere that has tons of fresh water, tons of oil, tons of electricity, tons of trees, man, just like a bounty of resources that's really close by, doesn't have a really strong military, that we could suddenly kind of get in there and see what we see? Wonder about that. Yeah. We would fall so fast. The Canadian military. It's like it would not be a very long protracted battle, unless there was some weird worldwide conflict. But otherwise, I think there's enough Canadians too that would just sabotage the whole thing. Like Alberta would be like, oh no, we're America now, we're already America. Okay, so carve out that middle strip, you know, in the left side, and yeah, so we're Americans, we're America, and we'll just attack from out. We'll just move eastern and westward and conquer the rest of the country.
They are making this possible. They support it, they vote for it, they fund it. And they can do all of that because they are so insulated from the effects of Joe Biden's lunatic immigration policies that none of it matters to them. The country collapses. Big deal. They live on an island. But to the rest of us, it is a big deal. This is our country. We were born here. We plan to die here. We have nowhere else to go, and we don't want to live in a slum.
Like, it's like there's no more coding. It's just like dog horns now, straight up. Used to be he would use a whole bunch of coded language, you know, and try to mask the whole white supremacy thing. Diversity is fucking awesome. All right. I say this as the whitest multiracial person on the planet. Diversity is a beautiful thing. I love hearing tons of different languages spoken around me. I love eating tons of different food. I love seeing a beautiful collection of different colored people all around me. This is not a Disney fantasy or some kumbaya thing where we all hold hands and I'm just like, oh, it's just better if we're friends. No, it is. It's fucking awesome. Maybe try, I don't know, moving somewhere that is more multi-ethnic or something like that. Statistically, even the data shows that, you know, human beings, when paired in different groupings that aren't, you know, the same, will have better results, both in the military or in business. Like, diversity is a strength. It is good for your business. You'll get out of that whole groupthink mentality. You become better at problem solving. And also, what about the orgies? We have to talk about that at some point. They will become an amazing multicolored expression of love and orgasms. So let's stop doing this whole vilification of people just because they aren't, you know, as white as this.
There was no advance notice of these migrant families arriving.
Massachusetts state officials scrambling Wednesday evening to help dozens of undocumented immigrants, mostly from Venezuela, flown into
Hey, good to see you, Dark Native. Everyone go to twitch.tv/darknegative. White supremacy will exist, I'm sorry to say, but hopefully we can keep it under wraps. Well, I mean, I would like to fight for the end of white supremacy. It'll probably still exist in my lifetime. That is true. I don't see us upending the entire structures of power between the United States, Canada, and most of Western Europe in order to have less people in power and less billionaires and less super rich people all happen to be white. But we can work towards it. That's for sure.
Martha's Vineyard.
Some of these people, I've been told, traveled months just to get to the border. And then we're sent here in an airplane with very little information about where they're going or why they were going there.
Officials say 2 chartered planes landed on the island with about 50 people, including children, at around 3 p.m.
It's manipulating people who are in very dire.
Yeah, it's using them as political pawns. It's like, it's so unbelievably gross. Fox News anchor asks, oh, it's going to be an ad. Fox News anchor Bill Hemmer interviewed Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Friday and asked him to address allegations from prominent Democrats, including California Governor Gavin Newsom, that he should be investigated for kidnapping and busing migrants from his state to Democrat-controlled cities. Oh, so it's not just Ron DeSantis. Greg Abbott is doing it too. Is this just the next move? Like, did the GOP have a meeting where all of them were suddenly like, hey, you know what our next play should be? I mean, we did win a couple victories in the Supreme Court. We're pretty much going to restrict half the population's ability to have bodily autonomy. What should we move on to next, you know? How about we just start doing some human trafficking? Why don't we do that? You know, human trafficking for political points.
That have led his border with Mexico to be declared the deadliest border crossing in the entire world. What is inhumane are his policies that attract people who lose their lives, who are being human trafficked, who are victims of rape and even murder. And so what the president needs to understand is he is killing people with his open border policies, and he's destroying his own country, but not enforcing the immigration laws.
Let me show some numbers for our viewers at home. To date right now, the number of migrants who have been shipped out of the border states. Texas sent 7,900 to D.C. Arizona sent 1,600. New York City got 2,200 thus far and counting, I do believe here. That number's gone higher already. Chicago, 300. D.C.
Martha's Vineyard at the bottom.
With 50. California governor.
These are human beings, by the way. This fucking scorecard, you're playing it like it's a sport.
Gavin Newsom, who may or may not be a candidate for president in 2024, says you should be investigated for kidnapping. What would you say to him?
Well, as a reminder, I'm the former Attorney General in Texas, as well as a former Texas Supreme Court Justice. I know the law very well, and what we've done in the state of Texas is follow the law to the T to make sure that everything that we've done comports with the federal law. We receive written authorization by everybody that we transport that they agree to exactly what we are doing.
I've seen a lot of talk online Domestic transporting, subsection 1324A1A, the second makes it an offense for any person who, knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that an alien has come to, entered, or remains in the United States in violation of the law, transports or moves or attempts to transport or move such alien within the United States by means of transportation or otherwise in furtherance of such violation of the law. Interesting. Of course, everyone's favorite white supremacist, Lauren Southern, has been having a time working with Nuance for OIC. People counter signaling DeSantis sending illegals to Martha's Vineyard just don't get it. It absolutely was the right move. Cernovich, weird Mike. To be clear, Martha's Vineyard residents voted 80% for Joe Biden. There's no excuse for the racism and xenophobia. Republicans, no human is illegal. Start volunteering. Drive these lovely people to your local representatives' houses. Bring them to DC. Set up some nice tents on Biden's doorstep for them. Let's go! Human trafficking, let's go! Counterpoints, wow. No, what I mean is no human is illegal. I meant your state. Yeah, poggies, let's go! Hell yeah, hell yeah. They're all so excited. Well, why don't we conclude in saying that it's absolutely disgusting that this is happening and should be called out for what it is. It is human trafficking. Again, if you want my prescription for this, the amount of money that you're spending, and again, the wall alone, the billions and billions of dollars building walls, billions of dollars on border patrol, billions of dollars on border security, billions of dollars on transporting human beings for political points to own the libs and get those delicious liberal tears. You should be spending that on programs and systems to be able to help train people coming to your country and to be able to give them temporary housing if possible so they can get on their own 2 feet, language courses, courses for jobs that are essential, stuff like that. And this should be a legal immigration system. And obviously, asylum seekers, refugees, they should be prioritized because they are escaping dangerous conditions and they could potentially die if they are returned to their country of origin, but it should be for everyone. And I say this because under the current system, and I know this is sometimes something that pisses off lefties, but under the current system that we have, there needs to be a system that they can get help and processed, because if not, they are usually taken advantage of by people who are looking to exploit their labor for pennies on the dollar. Like, why would I have a whole bunch of people working in my farms doing backbreaking labor, picking vegetables and fruits, or doing, farming is very grueling work. I've done it before in my life. Why would I have people to do that where I have to pay them an honest wage, a living wage, and give them benefits and rights and stuff like that, when I can just pay under the table a whole bunch of people pennies on the dollar, and they will accept it because they can't find work because they are, undocumented, immigrants to the country, stuff like that. And again, keep in mind the fact that there is hundreds of thousands of Canadians and Europeans who are undocumented, who live in the United States, who are not being pursued by ICE on a regular basis. There could be a very specific reason for that, but there you have it, Oh, and I also do want to give a shout out to the fucking Martha Vineyard Libs, because for all the tears that they were trying to extract, our island jumped into action, putting together 50 beds, giving everyone a good meal, providing a play area for the children, making sure people have health care and support they need. We are a community that comes together to support immigrants. Beautiful. Like, it just warms my heart. This whole thing is fucking backfiring on you. All these fucking right-wingers who are just like thinking that obviously everyone secretly, like the Libs will posture, they will say that they are okay with people from other countries, Venezuelans. They'll say they're okay with them, but we know they hate them just like us. We know they will want them to suffer, so why don't we just do this and we'll see how they respond? And it's like, no, they're I guess you're kind of unique in how ugly your hearts are and how vile you are as human beings, I guess, in this respect. And it turns out that they are willing to treat them humanely and step up and do the right thing. It's like this was a wholesome reverse Uno card. You love to see it. You love to see it. So I don't often say this, but I tip my hat to you, coastal elite liberals of Martha's Vineyard. You did the right thing, and you did a beautiful thing.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback, because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave Knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojak, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.